The final details of the FFA's bid for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups have been etched in ink after terms were agreed with rival codes over the weekend. Australia's chances of hosting the world's biggest sporting event now rests in the contents of the so-called bid book, which needs to impress the 24 FIFA delegates who will make the decision. Ty Neve reports.
It's all systems go for Australia's bid to host the world's biggest sporting event in 2018 or 2022. The final details of the bid book were finalised over the weekend. The document will now travel to FIFA headquarters in Zurich to be submitted to the governing body on Friday.
Well, it's a bid that truly reflects Australia, a warm, welcoming country, a culturally diverse nation. We believe strongly that we have excellent track record in hosting major events. I'm sure that we can put on a FIFA World Cup that the world will be proud of, that Australians will be proud of, and more importantly, that FIFA will be proud of.
Of most importance was to get the unified support from the other football codes, with the AFL, ARU and NRL all giving their backing to the bid after long-standing negotiations.
We're unified as a nation, not only as football fans, but all levels of government and in particular all codes.
If the bid is successful, the disruption to rival codes will be immense. AFL boss Andrew Demetrio made it clear today that they will be firmly behind the bid despite giving up its rights to the MCG, Skilled Stadium and other frequently used venues.
We weren't going to actually halt our season for 10 weeks. We wanted to make sure that we could get that continuity of the season. We've got obligations to our supporters, to our clubs, to our players. We've got that guarantee now from the federal government and from the FFA, and probably that was the most important and significant thing.
The AFL refused to speculate on any specific compensation figures, with the final amount remaining unknown until after the World Cup. But with up to 90 AFL games alone expected to be relocated or rescheduled, the sum will be large.
Given we're a $1 billion industry now between us and the clubs, and half the games potentially could be impacted, it might well be a large number.
Ty Neve, World Football News.
The bid book contains 760 pages, so those FIFA delegates will certainly have some reading to do over the next few months before the decision is made in December. So agreement has been reached with the other codes. It did take a while, though, to get a consensus. How do you think that will go down in the eyes of the people who will make the decision, that it wasn't an automatic yes from the other codes?
Well, I think that's always going to be... when you're dealing with the NRL and AFL, they haven't had this kind of pressure from football ever. So they're scared of us. So obviously they're going to put up a fight and try and make sure that they get the best deal. But in the end, I think they all knew it was always going to come down to this. This is a major, major event, the biggest event in the world in any sport. They had to come on board. I think they've got what they were after. They're going to get compensation. Their season gets to go on, albeit altered the venues and so forth. But look, it was always going to go ahead this way, and I'm just glad that it's over now.
Paul, FIFA stipulate that there can be no other major sporting events going on at the same time as a World Cup. I suppose it comes down to the technicality of what is a major sporting event. Is an NRL and AFL a major sporting event? My opinion would be no. As much as I don't want to get involved in NRL and AFL, but it's not a major sporting event.
No, they probably consider the gridiron not a major sporting event either. I don't know, but to Americans, it always is. I don't think there'll be any problem. You know, when you actually rack up the stats that 26 billion people, a cumulative total, watched the last World Cup, there were 1 million beers a day sold. I mean, being a good old-fashioned German boy, you know, they can drink. But, you know, you throw all those stats up and as an AFL supporter myself, I support Richmond, I'm a very patient boy, you realise that, this is too big an opportunity to give up just because we don't like the other code.
Paul, how do you rate our chances, Australia's chances of hosting?
Can I just tell you a quick story? I was in England recently and they whinged about tufts of grass coming up on Wembley and how they'd have to relay it. It's going to be the 11th time it's relayed. If they're going into that much detail, we might not get the World Cup because of that, I'm thinking, wow, we've got a lot of holes in our bid, so I'll give us a 50-50 chance.